You can't talk about Formula One controversies or Formula One rivalries without the mention of Hunt v Lauda. Their rivalry is one of the most iconic F1 rivalries to date. And today we'll be discussing the controversial 1976 British Grand Prix. On the first lap of the British Grand Prix at Brands Hatch, Clay Regazzoni at the first corner attempted to take the lead from his Ferrari teammate Niki Lauda. However, they collided. Hunt, attempting to avoid the contact, went around the left side of Clay, but he was hit from behind and his car suffered from suspension damage. The race was then red flagged due to the amount of debris on track, and the cars made their way back to the pit. James Hunt, though, drove through an access road on Cooper Straight to make his way back to the pits, meaning that he did not complete a full lap, and this would come back to bite him later. The stewards announced that only drivers who finished the first lap in their original cars could restart the race, which James Hunt did not do. So during the red flag, there was much debate on if Hunt could or could not restart the race, and because the race restart was so delayed, McLaren was actually able to repair his damaged car and they did not have to use the replacement car, which was their original plan. Also during this time, the crowd was growing extremely impatient and they were shouting, "We want Hunt." They were throwing bottles on track, so in fear of potential crowd trouble for not letting the home driver race, the stewards allowed James Hunt to rejoin the race. Upon the race restart, Niki Lauda was leading up until lap 45 when he started facing gearshift issues, and that is when James Hunt overtook him, leading to Hunt subsequently winning that race. But Ferrari, amongst two other teams, were not happy with this, and they went on to protest the race results, stating that under the regulations, since Hunt did not complete the first lap following the red flag, he should not have been allowed to restart the race. The stewards dismissed this and said that Hunt's race win would stand. Not on Ferrari's watch, because they then went on to appeal this first to the governing body of British motorsport, but they upheld the decision of the stewards, stating that while Hunt did not finish the first lap, his car was still moving at the time the race stopped, allowing him to restart the race. Undeterred and unsatisfied, Ferrari then went on to protest this result to the FIA, which resulted in a hearing, and Ferrari stood firm that Hunt's car was pushed by his mechanics before the official red flag, therefore breaking regulation which prohibits outside assistance during the race. And upon hearing from both Ferrari and McLaren, the FIA reached a decision to uphold Ferrari's appeal, meaning that James Hunt was disqualified from the British Grand Prix 2 months after it took place. I know I get head lost when the FIA takes 2 hours to come to a decision pertaining to my driver, especially if it leads to disqualification, so I can only imagine the scenes in England when it was announced that Hunt was disqualified 2 months after he won the race. But the reason why this was so controversial though is, well, because one, the decision to qualify him was 2 months after the fact, and two, it seemed to be that the only reason the stewards even let Hunt restart the race was because they were in fear of what his home crowd would do if he didn't race, and they didn't actually follow the rules, which was that James Hunt should have been excluded from restarting the race due to not completing the first lap, so he just shouldn't have raced. And that is the story of the 1976 British Grand Prix.